A very good morning to you. It is Entrepreneurship Tuesday here at Y in the Morning. I hope you did catch that interview with Juan Barry Moses. But now it's about time I introduce an industry to which many of you will find new. It's the escrow industry. Let me define who an escrow is. An escrow is a contractual arrangement in which a third party receives and disburses money or documents for the primary transacting parties, with a disbursement dependent on conditions agreed to by the transacting parties. So basically this is a third party, a trusted third party industry. And with me in studio I have the head of finance and operations at Mlinzi Escrow Limited. Salimia watu, camera ni camera 4.
Good morning. I'm Anthony Kamau, head of operations and finance at Mlinzi Escrow Limited, and we are happy to be here to serve you.
All right. So Anthony, can you give us a bit of background information? How does escrowing work? How did you even land in that line of career? Okay,
for us it was more of a bitter experience. A friend of mine who also happens to be a co-founder of the company I saw a nice laptop on some social media platforms and he wanted it. Unfortunately, he paid for an i3, he paid for an i5, but he got an i3. So that is where Mlinzi was birthed, and our motivation is the influx of social trade and penetration of internet in Kenya, and we believe this is a huge gap that we can leverage on and do more.
So how long have you been in this particular line of work?
So we started our operations in October last year, and I can say this is probably our 6th month in business.
Yes, you said that the escrow industry is fairly new here in Kenya.
Yes.
So we'd like to understand, even if you're in school for the youth, for example, is there anything in specific they need to study to be an escrow?
No. No, because I think business just requires the aptitude to do it. You only need to have the zeal to do it, and once you're out of school you go out there and identify some gaps in maybe in the economy and in the society, and you can tap on those gaps. So for me, I think it's the desire to do more and create solutions out of what we have. Yeah.
So what were you doing before? Now that you said that you have been in business for 6 months now, what were you doing before?
Personally, I did a BCom, Bachelor of Commerce, Finance option at JKUAT. Then later on I did project management, diploma in project management. So I can say between 2015 and 2017, I was in the finance industry, working in a SACCO as a field officer. Then for the better part of 2016, I was working as a project manager in a construction company. So apart from that, I've also been working on some youth projects back home, and I can say that's all I have been doing.
All right, because the industry is fairly new and many people don't really know so much about it, and it's a middleman kind of a line of work. Basically, I trust you to transact business on my behalf. Me as a young person who has just started my own clothing line or something and I'm advertising it online, why do I need someone to transact money on my behalf?
It's so important for you because of the value attached. To begin with, you may discover that the people you are selling to are not that trustworthy, and at some other times they probably ask for things they are not willing to pay for. So you having escrow is a great assurance that you can always get your money back, and because it's more of a contractual agreement, you can be assured that they are not going to act contrary to what the two of you agreed. So again, for us, the bottom line is being able to safeguard the money of our people, or the interest of our people. So money is in the equation. So I'm sure you don't want to lose your money. So you have to go the escrow way. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Do you think that it is expensive? Is it an expensive service to give? How much, how are your prices? How do you, is it something that will cause a very severe financial implication to get an escrow, whereas I can just manage it myself, or is it something affordable?
Not at all. It's very affordable. Our fees range from 3.5% to 6%, again depending on the value of transaction. But for us, we keep insisting that the retro you pay to us is so retro compared to what you're bound to lose if you do not choose to go the escrow way. For example, assuming you're transacting 800,000, so you losing 800,000 is so much compared to maybe the 5% that you're going to pay.
And how do you ensure that security? How do you deal with the scammers? How does it work? Why is it that you're preventing them from scamming me? How do they not scam you as well? How do you provide security?
To begin with, for any transaction to be initiated, the buyer must deposit money with us. So once that is done, we can be assured that both parties are protected either way, because as the seller, once you deliver the product, you are sure that we are having the money and we can pay you. And for the buyer, anytime you deliver the product and it's the wrong product, they can always get their money back.
So basically you just offer a refund. You make sure that we don't pay for things that we have not received yet.
Yes.
Yes. Now that you've said the industry is fairly new, what role do you think the government has played in terms of your new business? Do you feel supported? What do they do for you guys?
Let me begin with what the government has done. In terms of regulation, for you to hold money for an individual, for a business, and you are not a bank, that means you have to have a suspense account where you can hold money for that period of transaction. Then again, we have gone through so much in terms of registering our business, because for people to trust you out there, it's difficult for you to act as an individual.
Yes.
But once you are a registered company, then it is easy. So the process was challenging, but it was in good faith, because after all, the government wanted to assure that people's funds are secure with us.
All right. So, you know, your industry is a bit difficult to say that you'll diversify into something. So what's next after this for you?
I think it's easy. Once you're passionate about business, it's easy. Again, societies are having challenges every now and then, so you can always find new things to do and bring more on board. So for us, we are thinking of partnering more with banks, because we believe once we partner with banks, we can be able to do escrow for international trades, which have huge amounts. Then as well, we are thinking of adding plugins to our website, so that we can support businesses. So with that, we can be in a position to process payments for businesses, because it's also a challenge out there. So it shall be escrow, but we are offering an add-on of processing the payments. We are also thinking of doing a marketplace, Mlinzi marketplace, so where people can be able to buy products as well. And I think with that, we're in a better position even to compete. So much needs to be done, but we are on it.
All right. If you do have any questions for the escrow, for the very first time we've had an escrow here on Entrepreneurship Tuesday, the number is 22162. Do slide into our DMs and send in your questions and your contributions. However, having your background in finance, what financial tips can you give young people on managing their money and how to make sure that they don't get scammed? Maybe
personally or individually, I think young people need to first set their priorities right. You know, you should spend your money on things that will give you returns. Then I think on issue of making sure that you're not scammed, it is always important to do due diligence and find out the person you are transacting with. At the same time, it is always wise to use some better means of payment. For me, most times I prefer using cards or maybe mobile money, because that way I can always transact. I can always track things I've done, and as well make sure that my funds are secure.
Yes, I also do that when I don't want to spend money. I use the card so that I don't overdo it. Anyway, moving on swiftly. As an escrow, what can you say are the main challenges you faced since you started? After 6 months in business, how have you stayed afloat? What were the biggest problems that you had?
The biggest challenge is that people don't know about escrow.
Yes.
Escrow is so new to Kenya, so people do not know about escrow. Actually, the word escrow, I think at some point used to put people off. So when you say escrow, people would wonder what. So I think that's a big challenge. Then again, being a startup, we have been having a huge challenge of market penetration. We don't have so much resources to be able to get into the market. Then again, an issue of market segmentation. You know, with escrow, you have to be specific. You have to align yourself and know who you are targeting. So I think we have been having that issue. And all in all, I think the issue of finances is a huge one, because you also need money. I think people have a tendency of, I think, trusting businesses that have money. So I don't know why, but all in all, money has been an issue, because we have had the desire to invest in a better system to make sure that people do not have issues. Marketing, also invest in research and development and some product innovation, because once we are able to do this, we can remain afloat. So I think the hugest challenge, the biggest challenge is finances.
Speaking of finances, when you guys started the business, where did you get your startup capital from?
It was more of bootstrapping. So we first believed in ourselves. So we invested some money, though it was challenging. Then now we went to our families. So we told them, now, because you people believe so much in us, we need you to invest in our idea. Luckily enough, some of them gave us something. Then we have been working, I think last month we were working on crowdfunding. So we wanted to do
crowdfunding.
Yeah. And we are crowdfunding at NILAB. So we managed to get 250,000, and NILAB gave us 250,000. So I think for us, we have been doing this in a different way. I'm
sorry, take it back again. Who gave you what?
NILAB. So there are some incubation hub around Gong Road. So they gave us 250,000 shillings. So, and that only happened because people believed in us, saw what we were doing, and saw the potential in what we were doing, and so they decided to give us some money so that we can do more.
All right, if you were interested to get to know about escrow, Anthony Maina, mwambie social media handles.
So you can find us at Mlinzi Kenya, that's on Twitter. Then on Facebook, it's mlinzi.co.ke. Then my handles is Njoroge Kamau, that's on Facebook. And on Twitter, it's Adan Keynes, at Adan Keynes.
All right, asante sana for coming. Thank you for letting us know your story. Thank you for introducing a new line of work. Maybe someone at home has gotten a new idea of what they would like to do. This industry has a lot of room for growth, but it's about that time to tamatisha segment. Shiko Kaitani is coming through with Hello Day. Do not touch that dial. I am Hilda Wadidi. Have a lovely day.